News West 9 Sunrise starts now.
Happy New Year from News West 9 Sunrise. It is January 1st and welcome to 2015. I'm Stephanie Mills. Well, it's a cold and icy start to the new year. Meteorologist Max Crawford, he is on the weather wall to tell us all about it. Max. Good morning. Your time is 8:56. We're at 40 degrees outside. We're getting reports from our viewers about an accident on Highway 80. Westbound traffic on 80 is backed up all the way to Loop 250 in Midland. News West 9 is sending a crew to the scene. People are picking up the pieces this morning after a massive fire sparked in a Monahans neighborhood. Welcome back at 6:33, 21 degrees outside. The new year brings changes to federal policy regarding the minimum wage and Obamacare. We have breaking news this morning. We're taking a look at the scene outside of the headquarters for the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo, where one journalist is dead and 3 officers have been wounded in a shooting. Welcome back at 6:39, 36 degrees outside. Injections may be the best way to treat knee osteoarthritis. Researchers compared the effect of various oral anti-inflammatories and steroid injections on knee pain. If you haven't noticed the litter problem in the Permian Basin, you may be living in a hole somewhere. We asked people on Facebook, we asked you on Facebook, if you had any New Year's traditions or superstitions, and actually that was a very popular one.
Yeah, it was the grapes and the undergarments and all that stuff too.
Yeah, so we had Ellie mention the grapes, the 12 grapes tradition, and then actually Brandy, she mentioned opening a door and a window to be able to let out the old year and let in the new year, which I think is actually pretty cool. Good morning. Your time is 10:26. Here with me in the studio is Paula Barnett. You are the president of the Permian Basin Bridal Association. Welcome.
Yes, thank you.
So you're here to talk about the Basin Bridal and Event Expo, which actually News West 9 is helping to sponsor. The time now is 9:56. Here with me this morning is Riley Sawyers, and you may notice something he has in his hands. I certainly did. What is that, Riley?
Good morning. This is a western diamondback rattlesnake.
Okay, so how, going forward, how are you able to really get involved in this Midland County Republican Women? So, Dr. Bose, what do people need to know as the conditions in West Texas get to be more freezing temperatures, maybe snow, ice, anything of that sort? So the first thing that paramedics do when they get the patient in the ambulance is they get the vital signs. They get blood pressure, heart rate, and oxygen level. Residents at this apartment complex told us that 3 of the 8 victims had their cars broken into here. We are picking apples this morning. iPhones, that is, and you can just feel the excitement, the eagerness. There's actually a crowd outside right now, and they're waiting to get their hands on the new iPhone 6. And today is the last day to donate, so go ahead and do that to put a smile on a kid's face. Back to you, Victor. I'm here at the Midland County Jail where the suspect in this shooting is being detained right now. Dan Higgins was said to have shot and killed Midland County Sheriff's Deputy Michael Naylor. His life will always be remembered. Now, the sheriff's office is sending Naylor's body to Fort Worth for an autopsy. They say they'll have him returned back home for proper burial and services. And of course, News West 9 will keep you posted on funeral arrangements. For now, in Midland, I'm Stephanie Mills, News West 9.
Religious persecution is still an issue today, and in China, persecution by government is a common thing.
But there are those fighting against it. Stephanie Mills has more in her News West 9 special report.
A normal, rainy day on the streets of China. But for one pastor, his day takes a turn for the worst. He's seen here in the middle in the striped shirt. More than 20 government officials rush him into a vehicle, and as they quickly drive away, the now imprisoned pastor's congregation is left wondering what happened.
That was a Saturday. Many believers were in the church doing cleanup to prepare for Sunday worship. And then 2 police showed up and pretend to be very friendly and asked my father to have tea together. All of a sudden, over 30 police came out and kidnapped my father from his office.
On that day of November 16th, 2013, Pastor Zhang Xiaojie was in his church office when he was taken. His daughter, Zhang Weixin, says 2 months after his kidnapping, even his lawyers were not allowed to meet with him. The government charged Pastor Xiaojie with fraudulence and disturbing social order.
and the government, of course, has kept making false accusations and evidences. And when my father was accused by the government as committing fraudulence, they can't even produce a witness.
Pastor Xiaojie had helped a family of believers after losing their son in a factory fire. The government refused to make compensation to the family, so Xiaojie decided to step in. He helped get the family compensation from the government for more than $700,000. As a thank you, the family gave some of the money to the church and Pastor Xiaojie. The government tried to get the family to speak out against him, but they refused. The witness in their family hasn't been heard from since. Pastor Xiaojie was sentenced on July 4th, 2014, a day we here in the U.S. see as Independence Day. But now, this Chinese pastor will spend 12 years in prison. But even through all this, Xiaojie still has hope.
So my father told my younger sister, and he is just full of energy and passion in the prison. And ask us not worry about him. So this is a best location to share the gospel. So God continue to use me.
After Pastor Xiaojie's kidnapping and arrest, his daughter, Zhang Huixing, spoke out about his freedom. She spoke with media to make an appeal for his release. But the Chinese government arrested and detained her twice, the second time with her baby.
And at the same time, there are two video monitoring devices, basically recording every second of our movements. At that time, our baby was very scared.
Huixing and her baby were released 5 days later, but were still being monitored. Most everyone in her family had been jailed at that time. When she was behind bars, she said God gave her a reason to hope.
After taking away every items of my belongings in the black jail, the only item left was a copy of the Bible in my book, in my pocket. And I was so grateful. In the end, we decided to ask help from Pastor Bob Fu to help our freedom.
Bob Fu, along with those in his organization, China Aid, rescued Zhang Huixing, her husband, and their baby. They were taken out of China and flown to the U.S. and are now living in Midland. The family has been allowed 1 year to decide whether to appeal for asylum under religious freedom.
So I do believe that if without the help from Pastor Bob Fu and the co-workers at China Aid, my father might have already been disappeared. Because of this pressure internationally, and that made my father at least still in prison alive.
Tomorrow, we'll show you how the Zhang family is adjusting in Midland. We'll also learn more about Bob Fu, the man who rescued the family. His organization, China Aid, is responsible for helping many in China escape religious persecution. For now, Stephanie Mills in the News West 9 studios. Zhang Huixing, her husband, and their baby fled China to get away from religious persecution. With the help of China Aid, they made it out and are now in Midland. When asked how her family is adjusting to the U.S., she said,
I just feel the people here are so nice. And we were shocked, of course, when we came here. We didn't see video cameras on any street corners. And but we feel much safer, actually. Because our Chinese government said the reason they install all these monitoring video cameras is to protect our safety. But actually it produced more fear to me and our family.
The family was helped out of the country by Pastor Bob Fu and his organization. Bob Fu is the founder and president of China Aid, which is based out of Midland. It's an international nonprofit Christian human rights organization. They help those in China escape religious persecution and promote rule of law in China.
China Aid was established in the garage of my Philadelphia home, and at that time I was the only sort of staff without really much support at all. So in 2004, when we moved here, essentially we formally sort of established China Aid as a more healthy organization.
When asked why Midland, Bob had this to say.
Like the question, why Nazareth, right? And Midland just it's a small community with big dreams. So this is a very unique community. Of course, it's oil and gas business. It seems on the surface nothing to do with the persecuted faithful in China, but look at the Midlanders. It has everything to do with the world affairs.
The Zhang family China Aid rescued now plans to continue to lend a hand with the organization. They said they want to follow God's leading as they work to fight against persecution in China.
I am hoping that I can testify and be a witness for God and be a testimony, share the testimony in more places. And of course, I don't know, in the future, how much I could do. So I'm praying that God can lead me, just like how He led me to come to the U.S.
The daughter, Huixing, and her mother have visited Pastor Zhang several times in prison. The pastor has to labor long hours manufacturing socks there as a part of their re-education through labor process. First Baptist Church in Midland is covering temporary housing, and China Aid has been taking care of the family's living expenses. But in January, they have to find another place to stay and help with living expenses before they can look for work. If you'd like to lend a hand or help them to find work, you can contact First Baptist or China Aid and Bob Fu. That number is 432-689-6985. We also have more information on our website, newswest9.com. Click on our news links. And I'm Stephanie Mills in the News West 9 studios.